Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I've been spending the day on the river for Father's Day, and one of my friends, their boat went out, and so or like the starter broke or something like that. So I just got done towing his boat, but this morning I got on with some friends. I got on my wave runner and took it all the way up the river, all the way to the top, and the water's like glass. It's really cool. But I don't know if I've mentioned since XRP Las Vegas, but two of my friends, which is Jeff and Marcy Wilhelms, who they're in real estate out of Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. At XRP Las Vegas, they decided they would be the official sponsors of the Digital Asset Investor pontoon boat and Sea-Doo. And so you can go to check out their real estate firm at wilhelms.com, WILHEMS.com. That is Marcy Wilhelms. So really nice people. I originally met Jeff when he was at Consensus in Austin. I was actually sitting at the bar having a glass of wine with Brad Combs, and he leans over, he goes, "You got to be DAI. I recognize your voice." And so we became friends from there. He sat there and bought us a couple of drinks, and we hung out for a while, and then ended up going to dinner with him. Great guy. All right, moving on. A lot of interesting stuff going on. Stuart Alvarado, the SEC is raging. Ripple defended. Oh, by the way, I'm going to try, because this is for entertainment purposes only, I'm going to try to get some snapshots of some of these alligators we have here on the river in Georgia. I was joking around with the official cool guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel about, he said, "You get in that water with all those gators?" And I told him, I said, "Well, you're up there in New York, aren't you? You're surrounded by gators when you just walk down the street." It's just a different kind. And so we've always joked around about that. Okay. So Stuart Alvarado says the SEC is raging. Ripple defended itself, agreeing to nothing. The court gave clarity that XRP is a security. There are no victims to compensate. And the worst of all, the SEC, Ripple is thriving. But at least SEC seems to have abandoned its absurd demand for $2 billion. And this is Ripple, or SEC, responding to Ripple's letter regarding Terraform Labs' consent judgment. And then Ashley Prosper, who I think is an attorney, says, Ripple says $10 million, SEC says $100 million. Why not call it even and say $58.9 million? Boy, when that announcement comes out, people are going to go nuts. Check this out. They're finally getting it. Crypto could stave off a U.S. debt crisis. Folks, I don't know how many different ways to say it, but for 6 years of running this channel, I've gone with the theme that crypto is not just about little things. Crypto is about geopolitical things. I believe that's why it was all created. It has everything to do with us losing the status or transitioning away from the U.S. being the only world reserve currency. I've always thought this is what it was. I've even asked important people that to their face, and they've acknowledged that. That is the reason we spend so much time on these kind of topics. That's exactly right. Stable coins backed by dollars. You think all this is a coincidence you're living through right now, folks? This is when it's getting exciting. It's just now getting exciting for Ripple and XRP. Yeah, it's been a long road, and many out there will try to tell you that Ripple failed and all that. I think it's just the opposite. Well, name me another company that's been alive for 10 years that's worth what? Over $50 billion? Name one. I'll wait. Yeah. Anybody that calls that a failure has lost their ever-loving mind. Watch this. President Reagan believed gold backing for the dollar. Listen to this, folks.
We know you were an economic advisor to President Trump. In his last campaign, he floated the idea of a return to a gold standard. We see RFK talking of, U.S. dollar backed by gold or possibly Bitcoin. I mean, have you discussed this idea? Can you disclose whether you've discussed this idea with any of the current presidential candidates?
I don't think it's wise to talk about such discussions. When I had my interview with President Trump, the same day Chris Waller did, we took turns entering the Oval Office and meeting with the president, after which he tweeted that he was going to nominate me for the Federal Reserve Board. We never talked about interest rates. We never talked about how I might vote, or even the Fed itself. He was very businesslike. He only talked about appropriate issues. He had my resume in front of him. He had an interview I'd done, a weekend interview in the Wall Street Journal. He was interested in my views. I think that people can see publicly, if they go back to, I believe it was September of 2011, Trump, who was not running for anything in those days, did something I noticed. He said he did not like the way the U.S. government, that would have been under President Obama, was treating the dollar. He thought they were cheapening it. So he took, as a deposit on building space in New York, 3 kilo bars of gold. I think it amounted to something like 100,000 at the time. And he not only did that, he had a press conference about it. He says, I'm doing this because I am showing that we need to have money we can believe in, money we can trust. I don't like the way the government is treating the dollar like it's just the unintended consequence of fiscal and monetary policy. And he made quite a statement about that. I instantly thought, if he ever runs, he could address that issue, which I think is very important. I mean, what worked under President Reagan, who also wanted to have gold backing for the dollar. He cut a commercial as he was campaigning for president, saying,
also happened to have an attempted assassination on him too.
Unless we return to some form of gold backing for the dollar, we'll never have currency we can trust again. And he said, my goal as president will be to have the U.S. dollar be the most trusted currency in the world.
Bingo. All right, here's John Deaton. You will never see Elizabeth Warren in any video that even borders on looking this genuine, like a real person talking to you.
Hey everybody, it's John Deaton on this beautiful Saturday morning. I'm out here knocking in the neighborhoods, door knocking, spreading the word. I told you, Elizabeth Warren will not outwork me. And so we're going to knock on every door possible that we have to, that we physically can. But I need your help. So please, if you're willing to help, obviously money is great, but if you can give any of your time, go to johndeatonforsenate.com and volunteer today. Listen, the momentum is growing. We have an opportunity to retire Elizabeth Warren and make history, and you can be a part of it. johndeatonforsenate.com. Volunteer today and help me out. Thank you.
All right. Help him out. johndeatonforsenate.com. Now, this is extremely interesting, folks. Ryan Selkis is going all out on Gary Gensler and friends. Apparently, someone from this email address had sent out an email to a bunch of important people with subject line alcoholic Ryan Selkis of Nassari, basically going after Ryan because he's been so pro-Trump, who has been pro-crypto for the last month. Apparently, this has become a real threat to a lot of these people who are backing the other side, and they see this as a big threat. So they're trying to rally the troops behind the scenes. Well, Ryan Selkis offered a $10,000 bounty and 10% of the legal funds won in a Gawker-sized defamation lawsuit to anyone who sends me the identity of the person or persons affiliated with this anonymous account. Omar's coming. You don't F with a man's livelihood. And CC'd, who is this that he CC'd in here? America First Legal. Apparently, this looks like one of those, like a nonprofit organization like Empower or something like that is what I'm guessing that is. Now, so this escalated. He said, then he says, well, I tell you what, I'll cover this, where he goes with this, because this thing goes straight. According to him, he's been given some kind of indication that Senator Warren and Gary Gensler are behind the email somehow or involved. We're going to talk about that. I'm also going to show you what I think is a pretty shocking video that has been shown before, but it wasn't caught, I don't think. Let me show you that too. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Wait till you see this stuff. All right, here we go.